Hello everyone and welcome back to the 10th episode of the Tees Valley Sport Podcast. Today I'm joined by Claire and Neil from the Redcar Eston School Sports Partnership. It's a really interesting episode where we'll listen to what a school sports partnership is, what support they offer schools, both for the in-school activities and out-school activities. We hear a little bit about how the past year has impacted their roles and how they've managed to keep their relationships with schools so strong over the past year. We'll listen to some of the challenges they've faced, and it's just a really interesting insight into what a school sports partnership is, because I'm sure a lot of parents listen to this and people listen to this will not know what a school sports partnership is and the offer that they do support schools and how they do provide so much impact in schools, probably a lot of times without even people realising they're doing it. So please sit back, listen to the episode, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey both, how are you?
Good, thanks.
All good.
Fantastic. Can you both introduce yourselves and your roles, please?
So I'm Claire Tennyson and I'm the Executive Director of the Redcar Eston School Sport Partnership.
My name is Neil Young and I'm the Assistant Partnership Development Manager for Redcar Eston School Sports Partnership.
Fantastic. So for those that don't know and aren't aware, what is the role of the School Sports Partnership?
We first started, it was about just getting children active, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So we work with schools to get children active, to introduce them to new sports and activities, and then it's sort of grown into mental health, well-being, healthy active lifestyles, all that sort of thing.
I think alongside getting the children active as well, it's supporting the staff. So, you know, from a primary setting point of view, you don't have a specific PE teacher. So it's upskilling all the teachers so they can offer high quality PE, what is physical activity, and team teaching with them so they understand what it's all about and then how they can implement it within the school. So providing a workforce to implement high quality. Yeah,
so a real all-round package, isn't it? As I suppose it's offering so much different support to schools. It's such a valuable thing for schools to have, isn't it? Having that school sports partnership support, it's great. Brilliant. So obviously the last 12 months has been a year like absolutely no other. We've just gone to the anniversary of the year of lockdown. So what challenges have you faced over this past 12 months in terms of school sports partnership?
Yeah, I'll answer this. Yeah, it's been a tough year in terms of the majority of our work is face-to-face. So whether we're in school delivering or we're out on a field or in a sports centre, running an event, a festival, a competition, or team teaching a PE lesson. So everything we do is face-to-face. So the biggest challenge for us was having that removed, and then what we could do to continue the support, because you can't just shut everything down and stop. Absolutely. So we had to really rethink our offer and then how that would implement and impact schools and their delivery, because it's a total different strand of delivery for even the teachers as well. So it was a huge impact from that point of view, and as a team as well. So, you know, you're splitting the team up, you're then working from home, which then adds its own different environments where you've got to overcome as well.
And for us, it was a critical time because children were locked down in houses, and we wanted to make sure that they stayed active. So yesterday we were made aware of a child that in the first lockdown had died of deep vein thrombosis from lack of movement. So we've been working with the Youth Sport Trust, and information about it will go out to schools to make sure that children and parents understand why it's so important to get the kids moving.
I didn't have a clue. That's a scary thought, isn't it? That kind of inactivity over a lockdown period has led to that in a child. It doesn't even bear thinking about, does it? Yeah. And again, I guess that just shows again the absolute importance of your roles to support the schools, doesn't it? That you can help them and give them the guidance, give them those platforms to really encourage activity in schools.
We just want to make sure that people know that we're about, and it's our strapline really, more than sport. We're not trying to get the best footballer or the best netballer. We just want children moving and being active, and part of our role is to advocate why it's so important.
Absolutely. And in terms of your kind of relationships with schools, how has that changed in the past year? Have you found that the schools have they come to you for more advice? Have they been more kind of proactive in approaching you? How has that been?
I think from a well twofold. From a school point of view, we've just been a support mechanism for them, as we always are, and we've produced resources, whether that be PE for the children who are actually accessing school, the key worker children, or for those so then they can have that impact at home. So we've produced lots of resources, fun, enjoyable, and as Claire mentioned earlier, just getting children moving. So we've provided that. In terms of individual teachers getting back to us, they've needed support in terms of how does PE look like in someone's front room. Not everyone's got a great, fantastic big garden, and the most recent lockdown and the weather and the implications that plays, teachers have come to us for support in terms of how do we differentiate what we're doing. How does this PE lesson that I'm delivering to these key worker children in our hall at school work for a child who's in their bedroom or in their front room? So there's been lots of different types of support, whether that's individual or whole school support.
And we've been in existence for over 15 years and built some fantastic relationships up with our schools, and they're amazing schools. So they know that they can come to us for anything, but we also know that they understand why it's important to get the kids active as well. So they have bought into it, and we're just there to support them.
You mentioned about the mental health side of things as well. It's a really interesting one, because a lot of discussions that I've had with my roles, I'm sure you're the same within your roles, has been around the mental health support. Do you think that's something that, as a school sports partnership, you might end up having to offer that, the mental health aspect to the schools as well, for some support around that mental health direction as well?
We've just been successful in a bid to run a pilot in a couple of schools. And we're going to set up some clubs. They're going to target children that have really struggled with their mental health and well-being and socialising, all that sort of thing. And we're going to target those children and run some clubs that are linking to mental health, physical activity, and just physical health as well. Hopefully it'll end up rolling out across all the schools.
That's fantastic. I think something that I was told, we've got a podcast, we've actually got a series of podcasts around mental health week in May, and something that I was told, and one that we've already recorded, was that something that people forget is that it's not just, we haven't just got physical health, we also have that mental health as well, that people kind of forget, and that everyone has mental health. And I think that they're kind of now falling a bit more hand in hand, aren't they? That people are realizing the importance to children specifically after this last year. So I think that group that you've got, that pilot, I think will be a massive success. And it's great that you are approaching that topic, it's fantastic, and I'm sure schools will see the benefit as well.
Conception as well. So if you were to take an inactive child who dislikes physical activity for whatever reason, then they get targeted for mental health and well-being, and we need to work with them. But there's also in this pandemic, there's the children who are doing sport every day of the week, whether that be within school, whether being active around the playground or going to community clubs on an evening, and that's been stripped away from them as well. So there'll be a whole new audience of people that we need to target, young people, that we need to target that haven't been targeted before around mental health and well-being. There'll be some children out there that have been removed from what they used to in terms of a netball club 3 times a week. Are they going to return? Are they worried and fearful of returning? Have they then become inactive because they now don't want to go back? So there's a whole new strand of young people that we need to look at and cater for.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've mentioned, going back to the sport physical activity, you've mentioned about the child dying because of the inactivity. So, what else is that importance to kids around staying physically active in schools, especially after the past year? What kind of messages are you passing on to your schools at the moment?
Schools get judged by academic attainment and achievement. So often we use, there's lots of research out there that being physically active helps you with that as well. So even just sitting at a desk and having the core strength to sit at a desk all day, or the fine and gross motor skills to be able to write. Children obviously through lockdown did a little bit less of that, and every meeting I've had since, the staff have told me that the children don't have the stamina to work or the strength to sit all day. And we've seen lots and lots of research, haven't we, around that if you move, then your brain wakes up, sorry. So it almost goes to sleep if you sit for longer than 20 minutes.
It's interesting. It's just, you know, I think it's, as I said, this year's just been such a strange year. And I think, you know, getting the schools back in the actual classroom, the bubbles, I think it's, you know, it's great seeing them, you know, getting active and doing more and more stuff, isn't it? And obviously the sport and physical activity, it's a massive aspect of schools moving forward, isn't it? You know, and if you're obviously going to be promoting that to these schools, which is, it's fantastic, isn't it, really?
It's been nice actually that the schools have come to us since the 8th of March and coming back and saying they want new ideas and they want to get the kids more active than they ever were, because they've realised that they are a different child coming back into school and it's needed more than ever.
So do you also, you know, go into the schools and do you offer them the support in the school directly, or is a lot of your work done just via, you know, contact over the phone, via emails, or do you go in and give that kind of, can the teachers learn from your experiences and your skills and expertise as well?
It's a bit of both, isn't it? So we have a team of active travel team that go in and actually deliver to the children around pedestrian, balance bike training and bikeability training. Then we have some other staff that will go in and do team teach and work alongside a teacher to improve their competence and confidence so they know what they're doing. We do offer schools CPD, so we'll go in and train all their staff in a staff training session, or we're on the end of a phone call or a one-to-one meeting. So we offer everything really.
I think the key word to what we do is sustainability. So everything we do, we want it to be sustainable, so it continues. The active travel team will go in and teach young people how to ride bikes, and the aim of that is that then continue to ride bikes. Ideally, they ride to school. They teach them how to cross a road. The idea of that is they go out walking, and then they can, in the knowledge that they can walk safely and venture outside further. When we're working with teachers and going into schools and delivering PE lessons, you would hope when we are removed from that school or that section of work, the teacher's competent and confident to continue to deliver high quality PE. So sustainability is key for us in everything we deliver.
Yeah, and ultimately that's only going to have a knock-on effect and a positive impact on the school, isn't it? If you're giving the teachers and the staff that confidence and that competence, then, you know, the quality and the standard within that school, it's only going to get better, isn't it? You'd like to think.
And over the 15 years, we've seen that. And just an example of them coming to us in March to say we need some more resources to get the children more active is that they understand that message that we've been giving them for the last 15 years. They understand it.
That's brilliant. Obviously, you know, you've mentioned about the virtual side of things this past year. Obviously, you know, we've seen the virtual platforms, the rise in kind of what's happening virtually has just gone massive, hasn't it now? Do you think that, will you be looking to continue virtual competitions, virtual sessions, or are you looking to kind of get face-to-face back with everything, or are you looking to do a bit of a hybrid of both? How do you see that working moving forward?
I think one of the positives from it all is we've been able to engage more young people through doing things virtually. So where previously we hold numerous events, festivals and competitions and activities, and certain children will be picked and brought to an event or a festival or a competition, whereas with the virtual offer, we've been able to send it en masse, and every child has been able to action that and being able to take part. And I think what we want to see moving forward is that opportunity. So for example, we might hold a face-to-face event or festival and limit our numbers. However, we could still offer the virtual side of the event to be run in school. So it may be that 30 young people are having the opportunity of the face-to-face festival, but 130 or the remaining of that year group are getting the opportunity to take part in school in their own environment. So I think it will stay. It won't be as prominent, but it is certainly an option to spread our offer wider.
And we have different children like different things within physical activity and sport. So some can get intimidated by going and competing against another school. But if they're just competing against themselves or as a personal challenge, then then that's great for them. So we will have different levels. And we did that before the pandemic in terms of our development competitions and our really competitive competitions. But this personal challenge through virtual competition is just an added layer, which will be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's great. There's definitely that face-to-face competition. Personally, I think it's a really good part of the development of a child. But having that aspect of those that perhaps aren't chosen to go to all the face-to-face competitions, give them that separate entity, that separate field to be able to do something as well. I think that's a really, really important one. So I think it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it, really, to kind of see how we can operate in both worlds. But I think getting back to face-to-face, you know, happy days. I can't wait to see people properly again. You know, I've worked from home. I'm sure you guys have worked from home pretty much for a full year now, and you know, I'm jealous. I can see you both actually back working in an office. I mean, as I say, I just can't wait to get back out in the real world, and I'm sure the kids are excited as well about that side of things as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I spoke to 3 children from the school we're based in yesterday, and I interviewed them about the virtual challenges we've been doing and asked them some questions, and 3 children give me 3 very different answers, and that explains what Claire was talking about. One really enjoyed being in school and taking part in the challenges with their school friends. One young girl loved taking part with her family at home, with her siblings and a mum and dad. And one young man loved doing the challenges at home on his own, but just wished he had the equipment his friends did at school. So 3 very different answers and 3 very different needs. And it's just things like that that highlight that you've got to be everything to everyone.
That's such a good comment. That's such a good catchphrase, isn't it? You've got to be everything for everyone. You know, there's not one model that suits every single person, is there? And that's something which I feel that this past year has highlighted more so than ever. You know, that it's everyone's needs are different. And Neil, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there with that. I think you've got it spot on.
And for us and our team, it's key that we understand children. It's very easy for someone to come into our job and someone's loved sport themselves and not really understand why children don't. So it's definitely a strength of our team that we really understand children.
Yeah, and I think you have to, don't you? I think it's something that we've talked about within our team is that, you know, we are generally, in our team, we are quite sporty people, and, you know, we love sport, but for some, they don't, and it's finding ways to get them to enjoy some form of physical activity it's massively important, isn't it? Especially for kids at younger ages. It's been able to offer that offer for everyone, so everyone can get something out of it, isn't it? It's just crucial.
And it's that work we've got to do with parents that got put off by PE when they were at school, and they don't then see the importance for when they're bringing up their own children. Yeah,
absolutely. So I want to move on to the Sport England strategy. Obviously, you know, it's been massively different that this year they've looked at a 10-year launch, which is amazing, really. You know, they have got that kind of that longer term drive and that longer term vision. And from your side of things, where do you see it having a difference in focus of your work? Was anything that kind of stood out to you that you think to yourself, oh, that was amazing, it's what we've always wanted to look towards, it's what we've already been doing, but now we've got the Sport England drive as well for that?
We attended the launch and it just backed up everything that we were already doing. That a company that is named Sport England isn't just about sport, which is our motto, more than sport. And we've always talked about physical activity, but even breaking it down to movement is fantastic. We love the fact that they've prioritised children and young people as one of their big 5 areas to work with. And then we can just hang our hat on everything that we're doing and linking back to that strategy. And we've also, over the last few months, been in many meetings around how the school games focus might change, and that's the directive from Sport England, and that we might target it to around movement and physical activity, whereas in the past it was more sporty. So I think we'll make slow changes towards that with the school games, but in terms of our partnership, we do want to still offer a wide variety of activities for all types of children.
I think for me, the messaging is key, and you mentioned it there. Someone as big and as bold as Sport England coming on board and really promoting it. As a partnership, you feel like you're moving dirt with a spoon, whereas the JCB's just arrived and you've got the backing of, you know, the government and the country, and you can give as many messages out as you want and it just gets diluted in. Whereas if you've got a national message, and the one thing that stands out for me, the one thing we've been allowed to do as a country throughout all of this lockdown, this pandemic, is exercise, whether that be on your own or then with someone else or in a group of 6. The one message that's remained the same along the whole thing is exercise. So you just hope that it becomes really proactive. You see it when you're watching telly on an evening, the adverts are not selling sugary drinks and sweets and snacks, it's talking about being physically active. So you just hope that that message is then portrayed through everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you kind of see any kind of new opportunities? Do you obviously mention about the school games model potentially changing? Is there any potential other opportunities for you guys to kind of change how you work? Have you thought of any other ideas around strategy or implementation?
I think what we want to do is keep in the back of our head that we want to make a meaningful difference to children and young people. We're proud to say that our schools can say that every single child in their school can come out to an event across a year because we managed to offer that. But then from that, we want to make that meaningful difference. And we ask ourselves that, so what? So they came to an event and they had fun, but so what? What difference have we made to that child? So for us, we just want to focus on that moving forward, that they either join a local sports club or we work with Tees Valley Sport around putting on some clubs that are more like youth-led sport, where they just turn up and have different types of sport and fun on an evening, or that they're just doing physical activity and going for a walk, joining a gym. We just want to incorporate that a little bit more into what we're doing.
Awesome. Well, from me, that's everything. And I just want to thank you both for your time. You know, it's great catching up with you both. Great hearing about, you know, what you've done in terms of supporting schools in Redcar Eston area. It's fantastic. And, you know, I'm just so thankful that you've given that time up to kind of let people know what happened and what you're doing in your area and just the importance of the school sports partnership. So, you know, thank you both for giving up a little bit of your day today.
Thank you.
Cheers. No, thank you.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers. I think you'll agree that was a great episode, and it was fantastic listening to Claire and Neil talk so passionately about what School Sports Partnership does, what support they offer schools, and how their roles have changed in the past year and how they've had to adapt, you know, offering that virtual offer, how they're going to now offer that mental health support to children. It's incredible to listen to how people had to adapt over the past year. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you are enjoying these episodes, please do subscribe to us on YouTube or Spotify, or if you listen to our audio podcasts. You know, it does really help us and provide us with some feedback. You know, let us know what you're enjoying, let us know what you're not enjoying, let us know if there's any topics you'd like us to cover. We have got some really interesting episodes and very interesting ones to look forward to coming up. But as I say, we are really, really open to people's feedback. So, you know, please do let us know what you're enjoying, let us know what you're not enjoying. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.